Hello guys, this is your friend Uzumkai Universe 2.0. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto, Hinata and pregnant Hanabi have been in a secret polyamorous relationship? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start a new fanfic. Naruto, Hinata and Hanabi were currently on their way to the Hyuga compound. Hinata was also carrying her and Naruto's infant child Boruto. About a year ago, Hanabi had confessed that she too had fallen in love with her sister's husband. To her surprise, she had been invited into the relationship and the three had been secretly together since. When the relationship started, Hanabi had moved out of her childhood home and in with Naruto and Hinata. She had done this under the guise of wanting to be more independent, and that was only living with them until she could find a place of their own. Truth was, she had no intention of leaving. The three of them had decided to keep the relationship secret, because not only was Naruto married to Hinata, they knew issues could arise if their polyamorous relationship became public. They felt this was especially important, as they feared the controversy could destroy Naruto's dream of becoming Hokage. Unfortunately, secrecy was no longer an option, as a few days ago, they had discovered Hanabi was pregnant. This was something they initially hoped to avoid, but they always knew this was a possibility. Because of this, they decided the best thing to do was tell the truth before Hanabi started to show. They all decided to Hinata's and Hanabi's father first. They feared there could be dangerous repercussions from this, especially considering the Hyuga clan would no longer have any legitimate heirs. Upon arriving at the Hyuga compound, they were quickly granted an audience with Hiashi Hyuga, Hinata and Hanabi's father and head of the Hyuga clan. Thank you for seeing us on such short notice, father. I hope we didn't interrupt anything important, stated Hinata, bowing to your father. No, my schedule was fairly open today, responded Hiashi. I must say though, I was rather surprised by your visit. We have something to tell you. Something important, stated Naruto. What is it? Asked Hiashi curiously. Naruto was about to speak before Hanabi grabbed his arm. I think it'll be better if he hears it from me, stated Hanabi. Naruto nodded. Father, there's something I must confess. I didn't move out to seek more independence, confessed Hanabi. What do you mean? Asked Hiashi. Hanabi took a deep breath. This won't be easy to hear, but Hinata wasn't the only one who fell in love with Naruto. I am in love with him, confessed Hanabi. The three of us have been in a secret relationship for nearly a year and I moved in with them to be closer to them. What? Asked Hiashi, who had become enraged. But that's not all, added Hanabi. Father, I'm pregnant. Hiashi was silent for a few minutes before whispering. Get out. Father, asked Hanabi. I said get out. All of you, yelled Hiashi. Not only have you disgraced the clan by partaking in a disgusting relationship, but now you are having a child out of wedlock. You're a disgrace to the clan and I want you out of my house right now. Naruto, Hinata and Hanabi stood up and prepared to leave, but Hiashi wasn't done yet. Naruto, you will pay for the disgrace you have brought upon the Hyuga clan and for what you have done to my daughters. They left before another word could be spoken. Well, that could have gone better, sighed Naruto. I think we should just be glad he didn't kill us right then and there, added Hinata, who was also trying to calm down a crying Boruto. Hanabi meanwhile was quiet and silently rubbing her belly. Hanabi, is something wrong? Asked Hinata. I'm scarred, Hinata. What if he tries to take my child from me for what I've done? Asked Hinata. I don't think we need to worry about that right now. We should just focus on getting you through this for now, stated Hinata. And I promise you, Hanabi, I'll do everything I can to make sure he doesn't take our child from us, stated Naruto. And if I'm honest, I'm more worried about you, said Hinata, putting her hand on Hanabi's forehead. What if he tries to brand you with the caged bird seal for this? I guess that is a possibility, but I don't think we have to worry about that right now. He didn't force you to get the caged bird seal, and not only did you marry outside the clan, you also changed your last name, meaning you gave up any claim you had to the Hyuga clan, stated Hanabi. That is true. In fact, there may be a way we can use that to our advantage, said Hinata, thinking out loud. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. Don't worry about it for now. It's a question I'll ask father after he's hopefully calmed down, stated Hinata. Let's hope he calms down. I can't imagine what I'd do if he tries to hurt one of the people I love, said Naruto, placing his hand on Hanabi's stomach. Naruto, I have faith you'll do everything you can to protect me and our child. That's why I love you as much as my sister does, said Hanabi, embracing Naruto. Anyway, there's one more person I think we should tell, stated Naruto. Are you sure you want to tell Kakashi-sensei on your own? We'd be happy to go in with you, said Hinata. No, this is something I think I should do myself, stated Naruto. Naruto, if you can't become Hokage because of me, I just want you to know, I'm truly sorry, said Hanabi. Don't worry about it, said Naruto, smiling. Being Hokage might be my biggest dream, but I have other dreams I can focus on now. I have Hinata, Boruto, you, and soon I'll also have our child. The three of them headed to the Hokage office, so they could tell Kakashi Hatake, the sixth Hokage and Naruto's teacher who was currently mentoring Naruto on becoming the next Hokage. Naruto went in alone and immediately confessed to Kakashi about his secret relationship with the Hyuga sisters and how he was currently expecting a child with Hanabi. Unsurprisingly, Kakashi was disappointed to hear about this news, but he was approaching it much more calmly than Hiashi was. Naruto, I hope you understands that this will complicate things for you. Especially with regards to your ambitions of being the next Hokage. The Leaf Village might not want someone in a polyamorous relationship leading the village, especially when he has an illegitimate child with one of his partners, stated Kakashi. Sensei, I knew the consequences of this relationship when it started. As we both know, being Hokage has been a lifelong dream of mine, and I am also one to never go back on my word, so I was prepared to do everything I could to become Hokage. That being said, I love them both and I can't imagine my life without them. If being in this relationship prevents me from becoming Hokage, that is a consequence I am willing to face, because making Hinata and Hanabi happy is just as if not more important to me, declared Naruto. Kakashi sighed and got up from his desk. Thankfully for you, your deeds in the recent war still make you the best candidate for the position, so the village might be willing to let you become Hokage, in spite of the outdated relationship you've decided to pursue. And the fact that you're willing to give up your dream for the women you love might work in your favor, as it shows you're willing to go above and beyond to protect the people you care about. I'll have a talk with the other village leaders and hopefully I can convince them that training you to be the next Hokage is still in the best interest of the village. Thank you, Sensei, I appreciate that, said Naruto. I can't promise anything though, so I recommend you prepare for the worst, suggested Kakashi. I already have, stated Naruto before leaving. Having told the truth to both Kakashi and Hiashi, the three of them headed home. They continued with their current routine. Naruto went out to train, Hinata stayed behind to look after Boruto, and Hanabi also stayed behind to help look after the house. Normally Hanabi would also use this time to get some training in, but she had been told to take it easy until the baby came. When night fell and it was time for bed, they surprised Hanabi with a change to the relationship rules. As Hinata was legally married to Naruto throughout the relationship, only she shared a bed with Naruto every night, while Hanabi had to sleep in her own room every night. They didn't share quality time together. This was also done to help keep their relationship a secret. Because the relationship would soon become public knowledge, they decided the rules had to change. Hanabi had gone to wish them good night like she'd always done, when she heard Naruto say, "Hanabi, wait, come in a moment." Hanabi entered to see Naruto and Hinata lying in bed, but something was different. Naruto was positioned more in the middle than he usually was. "We've been talking and we feel we haven't been treating you as an equal in this relationship," stated Naruto. "While I'm the one whose relationship with Naruto is public and I'm the one he is legally married to, you are just as much a part of this relationship as I am," stated Hinata. "And so, If you'd like, we'd like you to share our bed with us every night from now on, said Naruto, patting the empty space. But only if you want to. Hanabi smiled, and without saying a word, she climbed into bed with them. Hanabi lay her head on one of Naruto's shoulders, while Hinata lay her head on the other. With that, the three of them fell asleep. The next morning, they had some errands to run, and they had all decided to do them together. While they normally all went out together, no one really paid them much attention, but now that their relationship was about to become public, they had a feeling they would get a lot of judgmental stares from now on. They didn't mind, however, because as long as they had each other, they knew they would be alright. Little did they know that some people would find out sooner than others. Naruto, someone loudly screamed. Well, I guess we knew this was coming, sighed Naruto, as Hinata and Hanabi laughed. A pink-haired, green-eyed woman ran up to Naruto and grabbed him by the collar. Hey Sakura, how you doing? Asked Naruto. How could you do this to Hinata? Screamed Sakura. So, I guess Kakashi-sensei told you the news? Asked Naruto nervously. You bet he did, and I can't believe you, Naruto. Not only did you betray Hinata by seeing her sister behind her back, but now you're gonna have a kid with her, berated Sakura. How could you cheat on the woman you claim to love? I didn't cheat on her. Didn't Kakashi tell you about the nature of the relationship? Asked Naruto. He did, but I don't believe it for a second. Considering how much Hinata loves you, I doubt she would agree to share you with anyone, especially with her own sister, stated Sakura. Then it might surprise you to find out that it wasn't actually me that invited Hanabi into the relationship, groaned Naruto. In fact, I'm not sure if I had much say in the matter at first. Wait, what? Asked Sakura, loosening her grip. It's true, Sakura. Hanabi came to speak to me because she felt guilty about the feelings she had for Naruto, interjected Hinata. I'd always had a feeling she liked Naruto too, but upon hearing it from her, I felt the only fair thing to do was invite her to join our relationship. But why? How can you possibly be okay with that? Asked Sakura. Well, my sister's happiness is important to me, and I knew being with Naruto would make her happy, so it seemed like the most logical thing to do, stated Hinata. And you were okay with this? Asked Sakura, turning back to Naruto. Oh, who am I kidding? A pervert like you probably loves the fact that he gets to have two women in his life. Like I said, I didn't really have much say in the matter at first, but I figured why look a gift horse in the mouth? Stated Naruto honestly. Do you even love Hanabi, or do you just like the fact that you get to have two special people in your life? Asked Sakura. I'll admit at first I didn't know her very well, but over the last year I've grown to love her in the same way I love Hinata, answered Naruto. Sakura threw him to the ground. Unbelievable. At first you couldn't get a girl if your life depended on it, and now you have two, she groaned. I'm just glad my husband would never do something so disgusting. As Sakura said that, a man in a green jumpsuit, with a black bowl haircut and bushy eyebrows, came running around the corner. He was also carrying a sleeping infant with slightly spiky, dark pink hair. It was Sakura's husband, Rock Lee. Sakura, I know this news came as a bit of a shock, but you didn't have to run off like that, he said. Also, did you really have to scream? You made poor Metal cry. How could I not scream, after discovering Naruto's done something completely disgusting? Asked Sakura. Look, while I'll agree the concept of polygamy is a bit outdated, it's not really any of our business what Naruto does in his personal life, stated Lee. Don't you defend him, lectured Sakura. Anyway, I don't have time for this, I'm late for my shift at the hospital. Are you okay to take care of Metal for the day? Don't worry, Sakura. Metal's in good, youthful hands, said Lee, smiling while giving a thumbs up. Alright, I'll see you tonight, said Sakura, giving Lee a kiss on the cheek. Before leaving, she turned to glare at Naruto again. We will finish this conversation later. Sakura left, and Naruto breathed a sigh of relief over the fact she hadn't beaten him to a pulp. You know, I knew people might not react positively when the relationship became public, but I didn't think anyone would get that mad, sighed Naruto, scratching his head. Don't mind her. I think she just needs time for the news to sink in, laughed Lee. Also, I've always felt that you and Sakura have a sibling-like relationship, so I can understand why she'd get angry at you when she feels you've done something bad. I'll talk to her when she gets home, hopefully I can calm her down. Thanks Lee, I appreciate that, stated Naruto. Do you have anything you want to say about this? Like I said, this relationship might be an outdated concept, but it's none of my business how you decide to live your personal life, stated Lee. I gotta say though, you've shown a lot of youthfulness for having two girls fall in love with you. For that I applaud you. Thanks I guess, said Naruto. Anyway, I'd better get home. Let's just hope Metal doesn't wake up again because he's got so much energy it's hard to get him back to sleep, said Lee, rocking his son. Lee left and went about his day. I'm glad that's over, sighed Naruto. Let's just hope this day can't get any more stressful. Unfortunately, it could, because at that moment, a representative of the Hyuga clan appeared and knelt before the three. Lady Hinata, Lady Hanabi, Naruto, Lord Hiashi wishes to see all three of you right away. Hinata, Naruto and Hanabi all looked at each other nervously. What could Hiashi want to talk to them about? Whatever it was, they had a feeling it wasn't good. Naruto, Hinata and Hanabi nervously returned to the Hyuga compound. They feared what this conversation with Hiashi would bring, because they knew it would involve the fate both of Hanabi and her unborn child. Whatever happened, Naruto was determined to protect one of the women he loved and the child she was carrying. They went to Hiashi's chamber and found Hiashi waiting for them. Hinata, Hanabi, Naruto, thank you for coming. Please have a seat, gestured Hiashi. They all took a seat in front of him. His calm demeanor made them nervous, especially considering how angry he had been the day before. Before we begin, I just want to apologize for my outburst the day before, stated Hiashi. It's all right, father. We had a feeling the news would come as a shock, said Hinata. Indeed, but regardless, my behavior was inexcusable, and I apologize for that, Hiashi reiterated by bowing. Now let's get to the point. I'm sure you know why I've called the three of you here. Does it have to do with Hanabi and her baby? Asked Naruto. Yes, sighed Hiashi. The three of you have caused a lot of trouble for me, as I arguably have no legitimate heir to take over as head of the Hyuga clan. With Hinata marrying outside the clan and taking her husband's surname, she has forfeited any right she has to being clan leader, which also extends to her son Boruto. As for Hanabi, she has become pregnant out of wedlock from entering an unusual relationship. What does that mean for me? Asked Hanabi. Hiashi took a breath before answering. It was clear he didn't like what he had to tell them. Normally it would result in your banishment from the clan, along with the branding of the caged bird seal, stated Hiashi. In other words, she can no longer be heir to the Hyuga clan. Asked Naruto. Indeed, in situations like this, we would normally pass clan leadership to the next in line. Sadly, that is no longer possible, stated Hiashi. They all bowed their heads in sadness as they remembered the passing of Neji, Hinata's cousin who had given his life to save Hinata and Naruto's in the recent war. I noticed you said this is what you would normally do. Is there an alternative in this case? Asked Hinata. There is, but you're not going to like it. I've talked to the clan elders and they've agreed to have Hanabi reinstated as heir, provided she agrees to the following conditions. She is to leave her relationship with Naruto, return home, and her child is to be raised as a Hyuga. The child will never know its father and the child will eventually become a part of the branch family. Explained Hiashi. The branch family, but if I'm to be reinstated as heir, shouldn't my child be the one next in line for leadership? Will my child even know I'm its mother? Asked Hanabi. Unfortunately, your child becoming clan heir isn't possible. Due to the illegitimacy of its conception, it would be dishonorable to name it clan heir. Furthermore, as your child will only be half Hyuga, we can't guarantee it will inherit the Byakugan, further damaging its legitimacy as clan heir, stated Hiashi. As for your other question, your child will be allowed to know you are their mother and you will be permitted to be a part of your child's life. But it will never be in the main family, only the branch family. To make up for what you've done, you will be allocated an acceptable partner within the clan, through whom you will produce legitimate heirs. This is the only option I can offer Hanabi. I recommend you take it. Hanabi looked like she could nearly cry. I can't do that, father. I can't befall my child to the same fate as Neji, because I know it'll eventually grow to hate me. Also, I don't want to leave Naruto. I love him. And how can you expect me to raise my child and not let them know who their father is? Then I'm afraid you are to be banished from the clan and branded with the caged bird seal, stated Hiashi. Hold on, interjected Hinata. Before you do anything to Hanabi, I have a question. I've given up my rights to the clan and I wasn't branded with the caged bird seal. Did taking Naruto's surname prevent this from happening? Yes, by marrying Naruto and taking his surname, we lost any right we had to use the caged bird seal on you, answered Hiashi. Does that mean Hanabi would be safe from the seal if she took my surname? Asked Naruto. Yes, if Hanabi were to take your surname, she would be protected from getting the seal. Unfortunately, you'd have to make sure she's protected until you are able to do so, because once the clan elders hear that she has denied returning, the clan will want her brought back and branded immediately, stated Hiashi. Then we'll just have to make sure she's protected until we can change her name, stated Naruto before turning to Hanabi. Provided that's what you want, I wouldn't ask you to do anything you didn't want to do. Hanabi embraced Naruto. If it means I get to stay with you and our child is protected, I'll do whatever I have to, she cried. Then it's settled. Lord Hiashi, we're leaving. Don't try and stop us because as strong as you are, we both know I'm stronger and I'll do whatever I have to protect both Hinata and Hanabi, declared Naruto. I am not going to try and stop you. I have caused my children enough pain. I am not going to be the cause of any more. If being with you is what Hanabi wants, then I'll accept it, stated Hiashi. Go, I'll tell them you needed time to think about your decision. Thank you, father, said Hanabi. The three of them got up to leave, but Hiashi had one more thing to say. Naruto, take care of my daughters. I will, I promise, declared Naruto, and the trio left. After they had gone, Hiashi couldn't help but sigh at the whole situation. Naruto, what is it about you that allowed you to capture the heart of not one, but both of my daughters? After leaving, they immediately headed to the Hokage's office to tell Kakashi about the situation. Kakashi was once again annoyed by this, but nevertheless agreed to help Naruto in any way he could. Not only would he help them in getting Hanabi's name changed, but he also agreed to help protect her until they were able to do so. The issue was that Kakashi was having trouble finding shinobi who were willing to stand guard around the Uzumaki home. Before the end of the day, word had spread through the entire village that Naruto had taken a second wife. Kakashi felt that this wouldn't be too big a deal. While he knew the other village leaders would have some issues with Naruto taking a second wife, he believed the other villagers would simply accept it, given all the good Naruto had done for not just the village but the entire world. Little did they know Trio's troubles were just beginning. The next day, Naruto, Hinata and Hanabi were ready to start the day, but they couldn't leave the house. Kakashi had advised them to stay indoors until he could send a few shinobi to guard Hanabi. Because of the situation, Naruto and Hinata had been given time off from missions so they could defend Hanabi until her name was changed. Unfortunately, they weren't able to stay with her around the clock. Naruto still needed to continue his training with Kakashi to be the future Hokage, and Hinata had errands to run. Hanabi had been ordered to stay until they had resolved the issues with the Hyuga clan. Little did they know the Hyuga clan was just one issue they would have to deal with. Weird, I thought they'd be here by now, commented Naruto. If I don't leave soon, Kakashi-sensei's going to wonder where I am. I don't think he'll mind, he understands we're in a difficult situation right now, stated Hinata before turning to Hanabi. Are you sure you're fine to watch Boruto while I'm out? This isn't the first time you left him with me, stated Hanabi, who was rocking Boruto in her arms. Besides, if I'm going to be a mother myself, I'm going to need all the practice I can get. True, but don't forget, Naruto and I will be here to help you with whatever you need, stated Hinata. It was at this point they heard a knock on the door. I guess the security's arrived, joked Naruto. I'll see you guys tonight, stay safe. Naruto gave his wives a kiss each before leaving. When Naruto opened the door, he was surprised to see not security sent by Kakashi, but Kakashi himself. Sensei, why are you here? Asked Naruto, confused. Because the situation is more complicated than we initially thought, answered Kakashi. May I come in? We have a lot to discuss. Sure, said Naruto, gesturing Kakashi inside and closing the door behind them. Naruto and Kakashi headed to the living room. Lord Sixth, is something wrong? Asked Hinata, who was surprised to see Kakashi had come in person. Unfortunately, yes. I recommend we all sit down, this'll be hard to hear, stated Kakashi, sitting down on one of the couches as Naruto did the same. So, what's going on? Asked Naruto. I'm afraid plans will have to change. All three of you are going to have to stay indoors until we can change Hanabi's name, answered Kakashi. What? Why? I thought you said you would send free shinobi over for extra security, stated Naruto. That's just the problem. I tried to, but no one is willing to help, stated Kakashi. Are they unwilling to fight against the Hyuga clan? Asked Hinata. Considering the Hyuga clan's reputation and strength, it was understandable if no one wanted to fight against them. If only it were that simple, sighed Kakashi. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. Naruto, while the village has started expanding since the end of the war, would you agree that it is still small and gossip spreads quickly? Queried Kakashi. I guess, answered Naruto, still not sure where this was going. Well, let's just say that not only has word spread about your conflict with the Hyuga clan, but the whole village also knows the reason behind it. Explained Kakashi. So wait, you're saying that? Naruto was at a loss for words. I'm afraid so. Your decision to take on a second wife is the reason no one is willing to help, stated Kakashi. But why? Why is it so wrong that I have love in my heart for two people? Asked Naruto. It's more complicated than that, sighed Kakashi. As you'll remember, you spent much of your life isolated due to something you didn't choose or ask for. Your recent actions have led to some of those prejudices returning. What does the nine-tailed fox have to do with this? And how can people still resent me for that? Without the fox we would have never won the last war, stated Naruto. I know that Naruto and the villagers do as well. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean they can't be afraid of the power you possess, stated Kakashi. The power I possess? Queried Naruto. Would you agree that despite now being a friend and ally to the nine-tailed fox, you still don't know everything about being a jinchuriki or the legends that surround them? Asked Kakashi. I guess not, answered Naruto. Then you should know there are way more legends about jinchuriki than you think, and unfortunately, a lot of them are bad, stated Kakashi. What does that have to do with me taking a second wife? Asked Naruto. It's actually quite simple, answered Kakashi. For a long time, the legend has been that by using the power of a tailed beast, a jinchuriki can place a seal on someone they decide to take as a mate. This seal is infused with the jinchuriki's chakra and makes the infected completely submissive. Furthermore, this ability isn't limited to a single use. A jinchuriki can use this seal to take on as many mates as they want. So wait, the villagers think Naruto couldn't finish his question because he couldn't believe what he was hearing. I'm afraid so. The villagers believe you infected Hanabi with this seal to make her your second wife. They also believe you did this to Hinata to make her okay with this. Explained Kakashi. Sensei, I swear I didn't. Calm down, Naruto. I don't believe you infected them with the seal, Kakashi interrupted. You don't? Asked Naruto. No, because I know you well enough to know that's not something you would do. Furthermore, if those legends are true, both Hinata and Hanabi would be acting very differently. Like I said, the seal makes them completely submissive, stated Kakashi. Then why do the rest of the village think this? Asked Naruto. Like I said, you grew up isolated, so it's a known fact that the thing you crave most of all is acceptance. People have come to the conclusion that you'll go to the most extreme lengths to get it. Even if it means turning women into submissive mates, to bear you all the children you want, answered Kakashi. It also doesn't help that you had a reputation as a pervert in your youth. But why would I need more acceptance? I saved the entire world and stopped the war. I'm the hero of the village. I thought everyone loved and adored me, stated Naruto. They did, but your actions and the renewed fear they have regarding the power of the fox have caused them to reevaluate their opinions. Not only that, but some also think you've let the glory of being a hero go to your head and you now consider yourself better than everyone else. Some fear that you're going to turn into a tyrannical dictator, who believes he has the right to take on as many wives as he wants. Naruto's head fell and tears started to form in his eyes. Naruto, asked a concerned Hinata, how can it be, that after how hard I've worked and after everything I've done, people are still so quick to judge and reject me, just because I make one decision they disagree with? Asked Naruto. Unfortunately, Naruto, fear is a big motivator, and hearing you've done something as old-fashioned and tyrannical as taking a second wife makes people fear you'll force more women into becoming your mates, answered Kakashi. Naruto started to clench his fists. Is this my destiny? To always spend my life struggling for acceptance? Because just when I thought the world would finally accept me for who I am, everything goes back to square one. Life's complicated, Naruto. People are complicated, stated Kakashi. I'm guessing they also don't want me to become Hokage now? Asked Naruto. I'll admit they're not that keen on it now, answered Kakashi. Well, I did say I have a new dream now, said Naruto, looking up and facing his wives. Hanabi handed Boruto to Hinata, got up from the couch and hugged Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, this is all my fault, cried Hanabi. If I had just kept my stupid feelings to myself, none of this would have happened. Naruto hugged her back. None of this is your fault, he comforted. You have the right to love whoever you choose, and remember, I eventually felt the same way, so this is just as much my fault as it is yours. Hinata walked forward and placed her hand on her sister's back. And I was the one who wanted you to join us in the first place, so I'm also to blame, she admitted. But if it wasn't for me, Naruto might have been able to live his dream of being Hokage, stated Hanabi. Like I said, I have a new dream now. To be with the women I love and to be a father to my children. All of them, stated Naruto, placing his hand on Hanabi's stomach. What about you? What's your dream? My dream is for us to be one big happy family, confessed Hanabi. Then that's my dream too, said Naruto, hugging her closely. And mine, said Hinata, kneeling down and joining the hug. But still, what do we do now? Asked Hanabi. With no one willing to help, how are we going to stay safe from the Hyuga clan? Naruto chuckled. I think you forget, you're with the strongest ninja in the world, and I promise you I won't allow anyone to hurt you. Not while you're carrying my child or after. I'll make sure you're protected until you can walk the streets as a free woman. But you can't stay with me all the time. What about your Hokage training? Asked Hanabi. Considering my chances of becoming Hokage have taken a big hit, I don't think it'll matter if I push back the training for a few weeks. For now, my priority is you and our child, declared Naruto. And it's my priority too. As your older sister and the co-wife of Naruto, I'm going to do everything I can to help you, said Hinata confidently. I thought I was the more confident sister, laughed Hanabi. You are, but I'm still the older sister, and the responsibility an older sister has to their younger sister never changes, no matter how old they get, stated Hinata. You guys are the best, cried Hanabi, and the three of them hugged again. I hate to break up the touching moment, but we have more to discuss, interrupted Kakashi. Sorry, sensei, apologized Naruto, releasing his wives. It's all right, This is a difficult time for you, so I can understand the need to take comfort where you can find it, admitted Kakashi. What else do we need to discuss? Asked Naruto. Well, first off, while I can appreciate the willingness to give up dreams for the people you care about, being Hokage isn't out of the question just yet, stated Kakashi. But I said you being Hokage wasn't a popular opinion right now, I didn't say it was impossible, interrupted Kakashi. So, you think it's still possible? Asked Naruto. I do, but it'll be even harder than we thought and will likely take longer, answered Kakashi. But how can I lead a village, if the people in it don't want me as their leader? Asked Naruto. You'll have to convince the majority of both the village leaders and the villagers that you're still the best suited for the position. In most circumstances, I'd advise you do as you did before. Continue to fight for the village and show nothing but utmost loyalty and devotion. That way you would gain their respect like you did before. Unfortunately, the circumstances here are a bit different, as the issue stems from decisions in your personal life, not your duties as a shinobi. That being said, I think we may be able to use this to our advantage, stated Kakashi. We can. But I thought my decision to take a second wife was what caused this situation, stated Naruto. It was, but that doesn't mean we can't turn a negative into a positive, stated Kakashi. Sorry to bring this up again, but as a child you were feared because the villagers were afraid of the power of the fox. You were able to change the villagers' perception, by using the fox's power to help the village. You proved that the fox was the village's greatest asset, not something they should fear. It might take a while, but I'm sure we can find a way to convince the villages that this decision is beneficial to them. How? Asked Naruto. Most would argue that people can only have enough love in their heart for one person. You've shown you have enough love in your heart for two. Right now, most people think you've taken on 2 wives because you have a high opinion of yourself, and you'll use the power of the fox to be a tyrant and take on as many wives as you want. You need to prove to them that this wasn't due to the fox's power. There were 2 women who held genuine feelings for you, and you had enough love in your heart to love them both. And as odd as it might sound, both women were also okay with this arrangement. Based on what Hinata has said, she wanted this before you did, stated Kakashi. I wanted my sister to be happy, so it seemed like the best option. It also makes me happy that I can share the man I love with my sister, interjected Hinata. You don't need to convince me of that. It's the village you need to convince, but if you can, hopefully you'll be able to show them that since you have enough love in your heart for 2 women, you'll work twice as hard to not only protect those you love, but the entire village. That is how I think we can turn this into a positive, stated Kakashi. Okay, where should we start? Asked Naruto, eager to change the village's opinion on him. First, I think we need to focus on the situation with the Hyuga clan, stated Kakashi. Let's take it one problem at a time. We'll focus on fixing your reputation with the village, after we've resolved the issues with the Hyuga clan. Good point. It'll probably be quicker to resolve, laughed Naruto, scratching his head. Indeed, sighed Kakashi. So, what do we do? Asked Naruto. Like I said before, since no one is currently willing to help with security, you and Hinata are going to have to stay here with Hanabi until we can change her name, answered Kakashi. That's fine. Like I said, right now my priority is my children and my wives, stated Naruto. Very good. Furthermore, this should only take a few weeks, so you won't fall far behind on your Hokage training, stated Kakashi. That's okay. Something tells me Hokage training will be pointless until we can convince people I'm not turning into a tyrant, stated Naruto. Good point, chucked Kakashi. But wait, who's going to run errands? Asked Hinata. Who's going to go to the shops to get groceries? I'll send shadow clones, stated Naruto. Even if public opinion of me has taken a hit, people know of my abilities with shadow clones, and something tells me no one will dare attack me in public. Not after my feats in the war. Well, I guess it is our best option right now, admitted Hinata. Like I said, No one available is willing to help right now, but all keep asking. You have a lot of friends in this village, Naruto, so hopefully they'll be willing to help you despite the decisions you made, and if not, hopefully they'll be willing to help out Hinata and Hanabi, stated Kakashi. Here's hoping. After everything we've been through, hopefully our friends will be willing to help us in our time of need, stated Naruto. Hey, wait a minute, you said no one was willing to help us. I said no one available was willing to help, corrected Kakashi. So, wait, you're saying that? I'm afraid so. All your closest friends are currently away on missions or preoccupied with other responsibilities, stated Kakashi. Huh, what are the odds of that? Asked Naruto. Who knows, but as soon as they're available, I'll ask if they're willing to lend a hand. Given your history, I'm sure they'll be able to look past any issues they have with the current situation, stated Kakashi. Here's hoping, but considering how Sakura reacted, I wouldn't hold my breath, laughed Naruto. Agreed. Listen, I have to get back to the office, so I'll leave you with this. Stay safe and only leave the house if absolutely necessary, advised Kakashi. I'll come by with updates every day, and if I can find anyone willing to help with security, I'll let you know right away. Thank you, Sensei, said Naruto. Kakashi nodded and turned to leave. Before Kakashi could leave, they heard a knock on the door. We're not expecting anyone, stated Hinata, holding her son closer. Stay here, I'll check it out, Kakashi decided. I'll come with you, stated Naruto. No, you said your priority was your family, so stay with them, ordered Kakashi. Alright, Naruto conceded, standing in front of Hinata and Hanabi. Kakashi walked to the door. He heard continued knocking as he approached. Kakashi knew this could be trouble, as it was likely a group of Hyuga ready to storm the house and take Hanabi back to the compound. He was just hoping his position as the sixth Hokage would make them hesitant to do anything. Kakashi opened the door and was surprised to see not members of the Hyuga clan, but a woman with messy black hair and red eyes, who was holding hands with a young girl standing next to her. This was Hinata's old sensei Kurenai. Kurenai? Asked Kakashi. I mean Lord Sixth, what are you doing here? Asked Kurenai curiously. I could ask you the same question, countered Kakashi. Sensei, called Hinata, who came into view after hearing Kurenai's voice. Hello Hinata, it's good to see you again, called Kurenai. You still haven't told me why you're here, interjected Kakashi. Do I need a reason to visit my old student? Asked Kurenai. Depends on how much you know about the current situation, stated Kakashi. Fair enough, admitted Kurenai. I'm sure it won't surprise you to hear I've heard about the rumors regarding Naruto and his partners. I've also heard about how no one is willing to help them with the Hyuga clan. That still doesn't explain why you're here, stated Kakashi. What do you think I'm doing here? Asked Kurenai. I've come to offer my services. Kakashi looked down at the girl next to Kurenai. Are you sure that's wise? You have your own child to think about, stated Kakashi. Come to think of it, why did you bring her here? It's dangerous. I'm aware of the dangers, but this is the best option I have. I was going to ask Shikamaru to watch Mirai, but he's away. I considered asking some other friends, but I thought it was best she stay by my side, stated Kurenai. Also, this way you can take Naruto to continue his training, while I help watch the house. Hinata walked forward and took Kurenai's hand. Thank you, Sensei. You have no idea how much this means to me, cried Hinata. It's no problem, Hinata. I'm always happy to help, admitted Kurenai. Hang on, interjected Kakashi. While I appreciate the offer, this might not be ideal. While the Hyuga clan won't attack while Naruto's home, they might not be as hesitant with only you and Hinata around. As strong as you are, you're only two shinobi against an entire clan. Furthermore, by bringing Mirai, that's another vulnerable person we need to protect. Then I recommend getting better security, called a voice. They turned to see a woman with blonde hair and brown eyes, standing at the gate. She was Tsunade, the fifth Hokage. Lady Tsunade, greeted Kakashi. Most of them were happy she was here, because they knew they would be safe with her around. Naruto, however, was nervous, because if he didn't choose his words carefully, he could be in for a world of hurt. Tsunade approached the group. First of all, why are you all still outside? You're completely exposed out here, stated Tsunade. They took note of her warning and headed inside, closed the door behind them and headed to the living room. Lady Tsunade, we really appreciate the. Hinata was cut off as Tsunade held up a hand to silence her. While I am willing to offer my assistance, there are a few things I need to know first, she said, turning to Hinata and Hanabi. Let me see your backs. Why? Asked Hanabi. So I can disprove one of the rumors spreading throughout the village, stated Tsunade. Hinata handed Boruto to Naruto, after which both she and Hanabi let Tsunade examine them in another room. When they came back, Tsunade looked satisfied. Just as I thought, no seals. If the legends about the previous nine-tailed jinchuriki are true, Naruto would have had to place a seal on his chosen mates by biting them on the shoulder. This would have imprinted the seal on their backs, explained Tsunade. As expected, not only are Hinata and Hanabi seal-free, I also can't sense any evidence of corruption within their chakra. So, this has nothing to do with the nine tails? Asked Kurenai. No, as crazy as it sounds, both these women have chosen to share Naruto out of their own free will, stated Tsunade. Considering how well I know Hinata, it's not as crazy as you'd think, joked Kurenai. But something tells me that's not what you're here to talk about. No, it's not, said Tsunade before glaring at Naruto. Without having to be told, Hinata walked forward and took Boruto from Naruto. Neither of them wanted their son to be in the crossfire of what was about to happen. Tsunade approached Naruto and continued to glare. She looked angrier than Naruto had ever seen her. So, was one woman not enough for you and you had to take another? Asked Tsunade rhetorically. Naruto wanted to explain it wasn't like that, but before he could, Tsunade spoke again. Do you think Jiraiya would be proud of what you've done? Naruto had a feeling he should just answer the question honestly, because he knew he'd be in trouble regardless. I guess, he answered weakly. Tsunade did not look impressed. No, I think he would definitely be proud. There's only one thing a pervert would love to have more than a beautiful wife, and that's two beautiful wives. It's not like that, I swear, stated Naruto. Then what is it like? Asked Tsunade. How did you manage to get not only two women to fall in love with you, but also have them be okay with this? Lady Tsunade, interjected Hinata. Tsunade turned to her. Maybe it would be better if I explained this part. Hinata explained how one day Hanabi had come to them to confess her feelings for Naruto, because she felt guilt over being in love with her sister's fiancé. She then explained how she happily welcomed Hanabi into the relationship, much to the surprise of both Naruto and Hanabi. Hinata finished by explaining that they had been in a secret relationship for the past year but had decided to reveal the truth now that Hanabi was pregnant. To say Tsunade was shocked would be an understatement. So, you're telling me you were the one who wanted Hanabi to join the relationship? Inquired Tsunade. And you're completely okay with sharing Naruto with her? My little sister's happiness is important to me, admitted Hinata. I could see being with Naruto would bring her happiness, so it felt like the only right thing to do. Hinata then put an arm around Hanabi. And if I'm honest, I think this relationship has made us grow closer as sisters as well. What about you, Hanabi? How do you feel about having to share the man you love with your sister? Asked Tsunade. I'll admit it was a bit difficult at first, but I think we've found an arrangement that works for everyone. And big sister's right, it's allowed us to grow closer as well, said Hanabi, returning her sister's hug. And you're completely okay with being Naruto's number 2? Asked Tsunade with crossed arms. Big sister will always be his first love. There's nothing I can do to change that, but as long as Naruto loves me too, that's all I care about, admitted Hanabi. Is that so? Queried Tsunade before turning back to Naruto. Well, Naruto, do you love Hanabi as well? If I'm honest, I was a bit weirded out by the situation at first, because I'm still not sure if I had any say in the matter at first, admitted Naruto. We can vouch for that, interjected Hinata. We did kind of expect him to just be okay with this. But did you really expect him to look a gift horse in the mouth, joked Hanabi. Anyway, I only really saw Hanabi as a new girlfriend at first, but over the last year, I can honestly say I've grown to love her just as much as I love Hinata, admitted Naruto. Tsunade took a few seconds to think about everything she'd heard, but before long she let out a big sigh. How is it that after all this time you still managed to surprise me? Asked Tsunade. I am known for being unpredictable, answered Naruto. That we can agree on, stated Tsunade, before turning to Kakashi. I'd like to offer my services as well. Now that I've stepped down as 5th Hokage, I have all the time I need to assist with security. Are you sure? Asked Kakashi. Despite their strength, the Hyuga clan won't attack while I'm around. I can understand their anger towards Naruto. In fact, I'm still a little angry at him myself, but we have a young pregnant woman who needs protection and I'm not going to let them hurt her, stated Tsunade. Also, as it's going to take a few weeks to get Hanabi's name changed, she'll be unable to go to the hospital for checkups. As a medical ninja, I'll perform the checkups in the meantime. Granny Tsunade, thank you, said Naruto happily. If you call me that again, I'm removing my offer, said Tsunade angrily. Sorry Lady Tsunade, said Naruto wanting to stay on her good side. That's better, stated Tsunade. Now, don't you have Hokage training to do? Right, we better get going Naruto, said Kakashi. I won't keep him too late. Thank you, Lord Hokage, said Hinata happy things were looking up for them. Hang on, interjected Kurenai. Am I no longer needed? As you said, with Lady Tsunade here the Hyuga clan won't dare attack. Well actually sensei, there are a few things you might be able to help me with, admitted Hinata. I was going to run some errands today, but now that I know the situation is more dire than we thought, I'd prefer to stay here with Hanabi. Would you mind doing them? I can watch Mirai in the meantime. Kurenai smiled and said, like I said, I'm happy to help you with whatever you need. And if I'm honest, I think we'd feel safer knowing you're here, stated Hinata. Very well, I'll stay to help guard the house as well, stated Kurenai. Well, now that everything's settled, I think it's about time Naruto and I leave, stated Kakashi. Agreed, especially since he's going to have to work twice as hard to gain back the respect of the villagers, said Tsunade. Naruto and Kakashi turned to leave. One more thing Naruto, when you get the chance, you might want to clean that graffiti off your fence, advised Tsunade. What graffiti? Asked Naruto. You'll see, answered Tsunade. Naruto and Kakashi left the house and after they went through the front gate, Naruto turned to see many painted messages on the fence. Among them were, creep, monster, tyrant, and, not the next Hokage, among others. This removed any doubts Naruto had that the villagers had turned against him. Like I said, things are worse than we thought, was all Kakashi could say to comfort Naruto. Well, as Tsunade said, it just means I'll have to work even harder to get their trust back, stated Naruto. Let's go, the day won't last forever. As they walked to the Hokage office, Naruto couldn't help but notice how people were looking at him. Most of the villagers, mainly the women, were looking at him with utter disgust. Naruto remembered how before he got together with Hinata, the women of the village were fawning over him, as they hoped they could be the one to capture the heart of the village hero. Now those women looked at him like he was a monster. He even saw a few women with either their partners or fathers, who stepped in front of them, with the intention to protect them. This saddened Naruto. It made him feel that all the work he had put in over the years had been for nothing. The village now appeared to hate him again, just because he made a decision they didn't agree with. Although it saddened him to be away from his wives, Naruto was glad he spent most of the day indoors doing leadership training with Kakashi. It meant he didn't have to see the judgmental glares from the villagers, which reminded him of the ones he would always get when he was young. He also wondered what his friends thought. Lee seemed to be fine with this and he probably just needed to give Sakura time to calm down. But what would the others think? Was he about to lose a lot of friends all because he had decided to love two women? Naruto tried to put this out of his mind and focus on training. Things were calm at the Uzumaki household. As predicted, no Hyuga had dared approach them while Tsunade was there. Her presence also prevented additional vandalism. However, Tsunade couldn't help but feel something was off. While she had been able to spot a few Hyuga nearby, it wasn't nearly as many as she thought. Tsunade knew that if the whole clan was for having Hanabi branded, there would be many more trying to sneak in, but there were barely any. Tsunade wondered if this had anything to do with how close Naruto and Hinata had been to Hinata's cousin Neji, and how big an impact this had on the branch family. Tsunade felt she would have to investigate this further. Meanwhile, Kurenai did as asked and ran errands for Hinata, leaving her daughter in Hinata's care. After completing the errands, Kurenai returned and agreed to stay until Naruto got home. When night fell, she was still there, despite her presence being unneeded. Her daughter Mirai lay asleep on the couch. "Miss Kurenai, you're still here?" inquired Hanabi coming into the room. "Yes, Hinata asked me to stay until Naruto got home," answered Kurenai turning to face her. "That's not necessary. With Lady Tsunade we're perfectly safe," stated Hanabi before looking at the sleeping Mirai. "You should get home and put your daughter to bed." "She's fine for now and like I said, Hinata asked me to stay so that's what I intend to do," stated Kurenai. "I think my presence makes her feel safer, especially now that she has a child of her own." "Why are you doing all of this?" asked Hanabi. "That's a silly question. I care about Hinata. You know that," answered Kurenai. "Yeah, I know. You gave her the support she needed when our father wouldn't," said Hanabi sadly. "And I intend to do that again. I know deep down your father cared, but he should have realized what Hinata needed was encouragement and support, not enforced harsh training," stated Kurenai. "It saddened me that he didn't support her then, and it's even sadder that he won't support both of you now. He wanted to support us, but he had no choice. He didn't want this. This is what the clan elders want," Hanabi clarified. "That doesn't change the fact that he should have fought harder," stated Kurenai. "That still doesn't explain why you're helping," stated Hanabi, who continued before Kurenai could speak. "Big sister's the one you're close to, not me. I could understand you risking everything for her, but not for me, and I'm the one you're protecting." "You're right, Hinata is the one I'm close with and the one I would support without hesitation, but my support extends to those she cares about. You're arguably the most precious person to Hinata, even more so than Naruto. Because of that, keeping you safe is important to her, which means it's important to me," explained Kurenai. "But I thought you resented me," stated Hanabi. "Resented you? Why would I resent you?" asked Kurenai. "Because I was also responsible for Hinata's suffering," answered Hanabi. "Long ago we fought to determine who would become heir to the Hyuga clan. I won despite being younger and less experienced. Father disinherited her, which caused her so much pain. I don't resent you for that," stated Kurenai. "You don't?" asked Hababi. "We both know she let you win, because there was one thing that would hurt her more than being disinherited, and that was hurting you. You're her precious little sister and she would never hurt you," stated Kurenai. "So, I don't resent you for beating her and becoming clan heir, because that was a decision she made because she loved you. If anyone's to blame, it's your father and the clan, because they should have known forcing her to fight you wouldn't give a clear indication of her strength." "That makes sense. How do you feel about me becoming a part of her and Naruto's relationship?" asked Hanabi. Kurenai chuckled at this. "Knowing Hinata as well as I do, it wasn't hard for me to believe when I heard the rumors," answered Kurenai. "How so?" asked Hanabi. "Like I said, you're arguably the most precious person to Hinata, meaning she'll do whatever it takes to make you happy. Hinata also loves Naruto with all her heart and was hoping to have him all to herself. Or so I thought," Considering how much Hinata cares about you and wants you to be happy, I have a feeling you're the only person in the world she'd be willing to share him with. So, when I heard that he had taken you as his second wife, I knew it wasn't because of corruption by the Nine Tails, it was because Hinata wanted to make you happy. Only someone as awesome as Hinata would share the man she loves with her sister, laughed Hanabi. Agreed, so don't stress about me staying behind. Hinata wants you kept safe and that's what I intend to do, stated Kurenai. Thank you, Miss Kurenai, said Hanabi. No worries, it's my pleasure, stated Kurenai. Still, I should get Mirai home. I hope Naruto gets home soon. I was actually wondering what's taking Naruto so long. I thought he'd be home by now, stated Hanabi. They probably just got distracted by Hokage training. Kakashi has a lot to teach him, said Kurenai. I know, but Lord Hokage said he wouldn't keep him too late, so I thought he'd let him leave early, stated Hanabi. Good point, said Kurenai. You don't think he's avoiding us, do you? Asked Hanabi. He better not be, especially with the commitment he's made to you both, answered Kurenai. I think it's more complicated than that, called a voice. Hanabi and Kurenai turned to see Hinata coming into the room. What do you mean? Asked Kurenai. Something tells me this situation is hurting Naruto even more than it's hurting us, answered Hinata. How so? We're all in this together, argued Hanabi. I know, and Naruto knows that as well, but how the village has reacted to this has likely opened up wounds for him. For the longest time he was alone, shunned for something he didn't choose or know about, and he spent a long time working hard to get acceptance from the villagers. After the war he'd done that. Everyone loved and admired him for his efforts. But now it seems they've all turned on him again, because of the decision we made, and he probably feels all his hard work has been for nothing. Explained Hinata. This made Hanabi sad. Please understand though he doesn't blame you for this, stated Hinata. How can he not? This is my fault, said Hanabi. Remember what he said this morning. You had every right to love the person you choose. And we all agreed to this relationship. We knew the risks and accepted it, stated Hinata. I think Naruto just felt people wouldn't react this negatively, after everything he did in the last war. If I'm honest, I think people are overreacting to this, interjected Kurenai. Naruto saved the world, so what if he has two wives? My point is, I think Naruto just needs a little time to process everything, so if he's running late, he might just be taking some time to think, said Hinata. But remember, Naruto said his new dream is to be there for us and his children. And Naruto always keeps his word, so he'll be back, we just need to be patient. Alright, Hanabi admitted. Still, where do you think he is? I have a pretty good idea, smirked Hinata. So do I, and I'm not even one of his wives, added Kurenai. Both Hinata and Kurenai were correct in their assumption. Kakashi had kept his word and let Naruto leave early, but as Hinata predicted, he hadn't gone home right away. As soon as Naruto left the Hokage office, he again saw people staring at him and avoiding him like he was some power-hungry tyrant. Because of this, Naruto found himself unable to go home, as he believed his wives would now be forced to face the same rejection as him. Naruto knew they wouldn't mind, but he still felt bad that the women he loved would face similar prejudice that he was forced to face growing up. Naruto knew deep down that none of them had done anything wrong, so it felt unreasonable that the village was judging them for this. This led Naruto to going to the place he always went to when he felt sad. His favorite restaurant, Ichiraku Ramen. Naruto just hoped the owners would still let him eat there. Naruto headed to Ichiraku's, and as predicted, anyone who was there immediately got up and left, leaving their money and half-eaten bowls behind. Good evening, Naruto, can I get you the usual? Asked Chuki, the owner and founder. You're still okay with me eating here? Asked Naruto. Why wouldn't I be? You're my favorite and best customer, answered Chuki. Well, I figured you'd heard about the rumors surrounding me. Asked Naruto. Yes, I have, answered Chuki. And you're okay with them? Asked Naruto. I'll admit it's a bit strange, but not the weirdest thing I've seen. Besides, you're not the first person to have 2 wives, and I have a feeling you won't be the last either, answered Tuki. What about the rumors of me using the fox to corrupt my wives? Aren't you worried I might use this power to corrupt your daughter? Asked Naruto. No, because I know that's not something you would do, because if you did, I'm sure you would have done something a long time ago to ensure you always got free ramen from me, laughed Tuki. Now to repeat what I said before, can I get you the usual? Don't worry about it, you'll more than make up for it, and with another Uzumaki on the way, I'm sure I'll get plenty of business, laughed Tuki. However, you look like you've had a rough day, so this one's on the house. Thanks, said Naruto. Before long, Naruto had a bowl of ramen in front of him. What are you doing here anyway? After all that's happened, I figured you'd want to stay home with your family, stated Tuki. I don't know if I can face them right now, said Naruto, who had started eating. Why not? You clearly care about them. And I can tell they love you dearly. It didn't occur to me before, but seeing how the 3 of you acted whenever you came here to eat, I should have known something was going on between the 3 of you, stated Tuki. I'm honestly amazed I didn't connect the dots until the truth came out. It's more complicated than that. I know you and Ayame always treated me well, but we both know that's not the case for the rest of the village, stated Naruto. I get what you mean, people have started treating you like before, sighed Tuki. But I don't think you need to worry about that. You gained their acceptance once and you can do it again. I'm sure they'll come to realize that Hinata and Hanabi chose to love you and you didn't force them to. Yeah, but now I'm exposing Hinata and Hanabi to the same life I had growing up, sighed Naruto. The rejection, the glares and the constant hate I felt from the village, I would never wish that on anyone, especially them. I can see what you mean. It's one thing to be hated, but for the people you love to be hated by association must feel even worse, stated Tuki. Exactly, and now, I don't know what to do, expressed Naruto. Like I said, you need to stop worrying about it, stated Tuki. Naruto looked at him curiously. I know you feel bad about exposing them to the same hate you get, but at least none of you will have to go through it alone. You all have each other, which will make the journey easier, stated Tuki. Besides, their lives have been pretty difficult as well, so don't underestimate their strength. You're right, as long as we have each other, that's all that matters, smiled Naruto, finishing his bowl. You want another? Asked Tuki. Not this time, as you said I should be with my wives, said Naruto before pulling money out of his pocket. I know you said it was on the house, but I feel bad about making you lose business. Naruto handed the money to Tuki, who took it without objection. Thanks, and don't forget to stay positive, I'm sure things will get better, said Tuki. I hope so, said Naruto before leaving. Wanting to waste no more time, Naruto headed straight home. He still saw a few people look at him with disdain, but he didn't let it bother him, because he knew with Hinata and Hanabi by his side, everything would be alright. Before long, Naruto returned home. Hinata, Hanabi, I'm home, called Naruto. Hinata and Hanabi came into view. Kurenai followed close behind them while carrying her sleeping daughter. Sorry I'm late, said Naruto while taking of his shoes. Did you go to Ichiraku's? Asked Hinata. Naruto had a feeling he was in trouble. It's okay Naruto, we understand, said Hinata. These last few days have been a lot, so we can understand why you needed a moment alone. We're just glad you're back, said Hanabi, hugging Naruto. I'm glad to be back, said Naruto, hugging her back, after which Hinata joined. Still, maybe call first that you're going to be late, interjected Kurenai. It's a hard time for all of you and you made them worry. I'll do better next time, I promise, said Naruto. You better, said Tsunade, coming through the front door. They might be willing to forgive you, but I have half a mind to slap you over the head, especially considering you kept us longer than necessary. Sorry Lady Tsunade, said Naruto. It's alright, as Hinata said it's been a tough few days, sighed Tsunade. So did you have any trouble? Asked Naruto. No, as predicted, my presence prevented anyone from getting too close, answered Tsunade. Although there were way fewer Hyugas lurking than I thought. What does that mean? Asked Naruto. I'm not sure, but I'm determined to find out, said Soon bid them good night and they left. After Tsunade and Kurenai had parted ways, Tsunade went somewhere unexpected. Before long, she was standing outside the Hyuga compound. The events of the day had generated a few questions for her and she knew there was only one person who could provide the answers she wanted. She just hoped the head of the Hyuga clan would be willing to talk to her. The next day after Naruto, Hinata and Hanabi found themselves once again waiting for Kakashi to show up so he could give them updates. After all this time he still runs late, groaned Naruto. Oh well, means I get to spend more time with you guys. I agree, a great silver lining, joked Hanabi. They heard a knock on the door. That must be Sensei. Hinata, stay with Hanabi in case it's trouble, requested Naruto. Hinata nodded and Naruto headed for the door. He opened and thankfully Kakashi was on the other side. Well, Sensei, what's new? Asked Naruto, gesturing him inside. I have good news and bad news, answered Kakashi entering. What's the good news? Asked Naruto as he and Kakashi walked into the living room. The good news is I've got the papers Hanabi needs to change her name. All she needs to do is fill them out, said Kakashi handing the papers to Hanabi. Hanabi looked through them quickly. Alright, I'll get this done today, she decided. Very good, and once we submit them, we should be able to get your name changed in no more than 2 weeks, but I'll see if I can do anything to speed up the process, stated Kakashi. Thank you, Lord Hokage, said Hanabi. Now what's the bad news? Asked Naruto. Kurenai can't come by today. Mirai feels sick this morning and she has to stay home with her, sighed Kakashi. That's okay, I'll just stay home today. Like I said, no point in training to be Hokage if the village currently hates me, stated Naruto. Actually, Naruto, I need you to come to the office with me. There's something important I need to tell you, stated Kakashi. Can't you just tell me here? Asked Naruto. I wish I could, but it's better we have this discussion at the office, answered Kakashi. Do we bring Hinata and Hanabi with us? Asked Naruto. No, even though you'd be able to fight off any Hyuga that attack, it's best if we don't have a fight in the middle of the village. It'll be safer for them to stay behind, stated Kakashi. How is that safer? Hinata may be pretty strong, but she can't fight the whole Hyuga clan on her own and we can't let Hanabi fight in her condition, stated Naruto. Wait a minute, why isn't Granny Tsunade here to help? That's a question that'll be answered when we get to the office, said Kakashi. I'm not leaving, not while Hinata and Hanabi need my help, stated Naruto. Wait, I probably should have mentioned I have more good news, said Kakashi. What? Are the Hyuga backing down? Asked Naruto. No, I just found others who are willing to help, answered Kakashi. Now that I think about it, they should be here by now. They suddenly heard shouting outside. I told you I got everything we need, complained a man. That's what you said last time, and you forgot half of what we needed, lectured a woman. Could you stop being a drag, complained the man. Oh, there they are, said Kakashi heading for the door. I think I have pretty good idea of who he sent, sighed Naruto following Kakashi. They opened the door to see a man with black hair by the name of Shikamaru, arguing with a blonde woman named Tamari. Tamari was also carrying their son Shikadai. Lord Sixth, sorry we're late, apologized Shikamaru. Tamari wouldn't let us leave. That's because you wouldn't double check we had everything we need, lectured Tamari. You might be smart, but you're so lazy you have no common sense. What a drag, groaned Shikamaru. I'm sorry, what was that? Demanded Tamari. Nothing, answered Shikamaru. That's what I thought, stated Tamari. Now, Naruto, do you mind if I set up stuff for Shikadai in the living room? No, go ahead, also thanks for coming, stated Naruto. I'm actually amazed you're both here, I thought Shikamaru was away. I only got back last night, and I was hoping to have the day off, groaned Shikamaru. You owe me for this, Naruto. Temari then slapped Shikamaru over the head. He doesn't owe you everything. You chose to be his advisor after he became Hokage, so you'll be helping a lot in the future, so you might as well start now, she lectured. Yes, honey, groaned Shikamaru. I'm more amazed you're so willing to help with this, commented Naruto. I thought you'd be as angry as Sakura was. Look, I'll admit it's not something I would do and I do find it a little gross, but quite frankly it's none of my business what you do in your personal life. If you want to have 2 wives that's your choice. Especially if they're okay with it, stated Temari. Also I've heard why you need security around the house and I'm more than happy to help. What about the rumors regarding the 9 tails? Asked Naruto. Oh please, my brother used to be a jinchuriki. If he had an ability like that, I'm sure he would have used it a long time ago. Even if that is an ability you possess, Gaara knows you wouldn't do something like that and that the rumors are complete nonsense, stated Temari. Well, thanks I guess, said Naruto, who was still amazed Temari was okay with this. Personally I think you're insane for taking a second wife, whispered Shikamaru to Naruto. One is too much for me. Is that so? Inquired Temari, who overheard what he said and started glaring at him. Do you find me overbearing? Would you hate if there were 2 of me? No, answered Shikamaru. That's what I thought, stated Temari. Now, if you'll excuse me I'm going to set up. She walked past Naruto and Kakashi and entered the house. You keep this up, you're going to be in the doghouse, commented Naruto. Don't you think I know that? Groaned Shikamaru, who then sighed. This is what I get for marrying a woman similar to my mother. Maybe Nara men like strong-willed women, argued Naruto. They are the only ones who can keep them in line, joked Kakashi. You guys aren't helping, stated Shikamaru. Anyway I better get inside before she yells at me again. Shikamaru walked past them into the home. I'm glad they agreed to come, stated Naruto. Shikamaru can use his shadow possession to stop any intruder and Temari can easily blow away anyone who approaches. I just hope they're enough. We have to assume they aren't, which is why I've managed to get a few more people to come over, stated Kakashi. Conveniently a lot of people got back last night. 2 more people then entered through the gate. Both brown-haired, but one was accompanied by a large white dog and had red fang marks on his face, while the other wore sunglasses and had a mysterious attitude. Naruto recognized them as Hinata's old teammates Kiba and Shino. Guys, thanks for coming, we really appreciate. Kiba held up a hand causing him to go silent. Just so you know Naruto, we aren't here to help you. The Hokage said Hinata needed our help and that's why we're here, stated Kiba. We're still a little skeptical with the rumors, but as long as you didn't hurt Hinata there'll be no trouble from us, added Shino. Oh, come on guys, do you really think I'd do anything to hurt Hinata? Asked Naruto. We'd like to think you wouldn't but we want to know for sure, answered Shino. We also know how much Hinata cares for her sister, so we could see her being willing to share you with her, but no one else, stated Kiba. If you take a 3rd wife, we'll know for certain you're up to something sketchy. You don't have to worry about that, stated Naruto. There are still days where I wonder how I ended up with 2. Kakashi decided to break up the conversation. Guys, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but I'm going to request you leave them till later. Naruto and I have a lot to do. Alright Lord Hokage, stated Shino. Let's go Kiba, we have a job to do. Fine, but I got my eye on you, said Kiba to Naruto. They walked past Naruto and headed into the house. Well, at least they're taking it better than I thought they would, sighed Naruto. Like I said Naruto, you've made a lot of friends over the years. You need to trust they'll stand by you when you need them the most, stated Kakashi. I guess, said Naruto. Anyway, you said you had something important to tell me at the office. Indeed, so we better get going, said Kakashi. Could you at least tell me why Granny Tsunade couldn't help today? Asked Naruto. Like I said, you'll get the answers you're after when we get to the office, answered Kakashi. Without another word, they made their way to the Hokage's office. They headed there as quickly as they could, because whatever Kakashi had to tell Naruto was extremely urgent. Upon arriving at the office door, Kakashi came to a halt. Before we go in, I feel you should know that no one here is looking for a fight, stated Kakashi. Huh? Asked Naruto. You'll see, stated Kakashi. They headed inside and saw Tsunade was there waiting for them, but she wasn't the only one. Hinata and Hanabi's father Hiashi was also present. What is he doing here? Demanded Naruto. Naruto, I said no one is here to look for a fight, advised Kakashi. There's something Lord Hiashi wants to tell you, and I recommend you listen. I don't want to listen to anything he has to say. I bet he's here to say that this isn't what he wanted. If that was the case, he would have fought harder for Hinata and Hanabi, growled Naruto. He's done more than you think, interjected Tsunade. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. I think it's better that Lord Hiashi answer that question. Before that though, I think I should explain why we're all here, answered Tsunade. As you know, I spent all day yesterday guarding your home from attackers and I only spotted a few Hyugas lurking. I'd been led to believe that the entire Hyuga clan was opposed to the relationship between you and its two heirs. If that was the case, I feel there would have been way more Hyuga surrounding the house trying to find an opening. As this was not the case, I decided to do some investigating. I headed to the Hyuga compound after leaving your home and requested an audience with the clan head. This led to a very long discussion between us. Hiashi stepped forward. Naruto, I wasn't completely honest with you and my daughters. I only told you what I did, because I felt the truth would be too hard for them to hear, so I only told you enough to push you away. I swore I wouldn't be the cause of any more pain to my daughters. Unfortunately, even as clan head, there is only so much I could do to fight against the clan elders. No matter what I said, I couldn't change their minds. Why, what's going on? Asked Naruto calmly. First, I want to apologize again for getting angry at you before. I'll admit I was a little angry by the situation, but it was for selfish reasons. I'd long accepted that what Hinata wanted more than anything was to be with you, and if that made her happy, I wasn't going to fight it, regardless of what the clan said. They didn't mind though, as we still had Hanabi to continue our traditions. I too was hoping Hanabi would continue our traditions because it would keep peace. So, when I heard she was in a secret relationship with you, and Hinata, I lost it because I knew this was going to cause a lot of trouble. I wanted to blame you, but I knew I couldn't, as we all know my daughters loved you before you loved them. This was their choice, and I should have done more to support them. Explained Hiashi. Also, something tells me I should have predicted this. Hanabi moved out of the compound to gain more independence, then she moved in with you and Hinata. And never left. Yeah, I'm honestly amazed no one found out until we told the truth, chuckled Naruto. But you still haven't told me what's going on. Right. Let's just say the Hyuga clan is actually less disgusted by Hanabi's child than I let on. The reason they wanted Hanabi to come back is because they have a lot of plans for her child, stated Hiashi. Plans? What plans? Asked Naruto. All in good time, Naruto. We'll tell you everything we discussed last night, interjected Tsunade. The night before, Tsunade headed to the Hyuga compound and requested an audience with clan head Hiashi. She had a feeling she would be turned away because of her connection with Naruto and because the whole Hyuga clan was likely now aware she was helping protect Hanabi. Nevertheless, she'd been let in and was now in a room waiting for Hiashi. A nearby door opened. Hiashi entered and sat opposite Tsunade. Lord Hiashi, thank you for seeing me on such short notice, said Tsunade. Not at all, it's an honor to have the 5th Hokage visit my home, stated Hiashi. Really? Because I think we both know why I'm here, stated Tsunade. Indeed, sighed Hiashi. I'm aware you spent today helping defend my daughter from the clan. A smart move. You're one of the few ninja that even the strongest Hyuga wouldn't dare challenge. If you know that, then why did you allow this visit? Asked Tsunade. I was hoping you could give me an update on my daughters, answered Hiashi. Are they okay? If you want to know, you should visit them yourself, stated Tsunade angrily. I can't, was all Hiashi could say. I don't believe that, as clan head, you should have done more, argued Tsunade. We both know I couldn't, countered Hiashi. I might be the head of the Hyuga clan, but at the end of the day, all that means is that I'm a public representative for the clan. I must make the decisions that will keep peace within the clan, even if that means I don't agree with them. My position isn't that different from the Hokage. I may be the leader of a group, but I'm not a tyrant. I must do what is decided upon by the majority of the clan. So, the majority of the clan feels it's okay to take your daughter away from the man she loves, raise her unborn child as a servant who will never meet their father, and brand her with the cage bird seal if she refuses. Asked Tsunade. That is the clan way. We pride ourselves on tradition, and to have an illegitimate child as heir would be disgraceful, answered Hiashi. Speaking of which, as the Hokage, you shouldn't be interfering with clan business. Former Hokage, I may always hold the title of the fifth, but I am no longer Hokage. My current actions are for personal reasons, countered Tsunade. Then why is Lord Sixth interfering with Hyuga clan business? Demanded Hiashi. Because there is a loophole in this. As Naruto is the child's father, it could be argued jurisdiction lies in his name and not the Hyuga, stated Tsunade. Perhaps, but she has made the decision to change her name, so regardless of clan traditions, as soon as her name is changed, her future will no longer be dictated by the Hyuga clan, argued Tsunade. But as of right now, she is still a Hyuga, meaning Lord Sixth has no right to interfere, countered Hiashi. Lord Sixth is only helping in the areas he's allowed to. He's not helping directly in the protection of Hanabi. Furthermore, he is not forcing any other shinobi to act as security, only those willing to protect Hanabi are doing so. All Lord Sixth is doing is helping with the process of changing Hanabi's name. As far as the laws of the village is concerned, he isn't overstepping any boundaries, stated Tsunade. Hiashi looked defeated in this argument. You're right, everything they are doing is within the Leaf Village Code. But that doesn't change the fact that until Hanabi's name is changed, the Hyuga clan is free to do everything they can to bring her home, stated Hiashi. Correct. But with both Naruto and I acting as security, they'd be fools to attack their home, countered Tsunade. That we can agree on, stated Hiashi. While Tsunade knew he would never admit it, she could tell Hiashi was sad about all this. I know you currently wish for me to leave, but before I do, may I ask you a few questions? Asked Tsunade. Why are the Hyuga clan so insistent that Hanabi and her child return? They didn't object to Hinata's marriage to Naruto. Even with Naruto being the hero of the village, wouldn't it normally be considered taboo for a potential heir to marry outside the clan? Asked Tsunade. That would be the case if she were the only heir, answered Hiashi. As you know, Hinata was already once removed as clan heir. While in recent years she has proven herself more capable of being heir, the clan decided she was fine to marry Naruto, provided she relinquished her rights. We were all aware Hinata had made her choice. She knew the consequences and accepted them. The Hyuga clan also accepted this, because if we had Hanabi as heir, our traditions could continue. But now that's not possible. Asked Tsunade. No, now that Hanabi has decided to join this polygamous relationship with Naruto and Hinata, we have lost another heir, stated Hiashi. This could have been fixed if it had ended early on, but now that she is carrying Naruto's child, she can no longer be heir. If you needed her to be heir so badly, why did you let her move out and move in with Naruto and Hinata? Asked Tsunade. Because I did see benefit to her leaving home and finding more independence. I believed she was only living with Naruto and Hinata until she could find a place of her own. Considering she never left, I probably should have suspected that something was amiss, stated Hiashi. Perhaps, but from what I can tell this was a big shock to everyone, added Tsunade. What will you do if Hanabi is successful in changing her name? I'm not sure yet. All I know is I'll be required to find a new heir, stated Hiashi. And I probably won't be allowed to pick the heir, they'll likely be chosen by the clan elders. This led Tsunade to her next question. Does the entire Hyuga clan truly want Hanabi brought back and branded? Hiashi hesitated with this question. Would they be doing what they are if they didn't? That's what makes me suspicious, stated Tsunade. You claim this was a decision made by the entire clan, and yet I saw very few of them lurking by Naruto's home. If the whole Hyuga clan was for this, there would be a lot more involved. What's really going on? That's private clan business, sighed Hiashi. Like I said, I'm no longer Hokage, the consequences of me interfering aren't as great as they used to be, countered Tsunade. Hiashi decided it might just be easier to tell Tsunade everything. I wasn't entirely honest with Naruto and my daughters, confessed Hiashi. And you were right, this isn't what the whole clan wants. While most of the elders are demanding for Hanabi's return, much of the branch family is refusing to help. While we have control over them with the cage bird seal, most are resisting as much as they can. Only a few are actively trying to attack Naruto's home. It's definitely a factor, but I think many of them are just happy Hanabi found a way to escape, sighed Hiashi. Can't say I blame them. You said you weren't honest with Naruto and your daughters. What didn't you tell them? Asked Tsunade. Do you really want to know? Asked Hiashi. Tsunade nodded. Very well. Truth is, I only told them what I did to push them away. I knew telling them that Hanabi's child would face the same fate as Neji would be all Hanabi needed to leave. I felt telling them the truth would hurt them too much, stated Hiashi. I've caused my daughters enough pain, I won't cause any more. Why? What could hurt them so much that you felt the need to lie? Asked Tsunade. I was being truthful when I said, the elders wished to brand Hanabi and put her in the branch family. What I didn't tell them were the plans the clan have for her child, answered Hiashi. They want me to make the child the next heir. And they want Hanabi to have nothing to do with raising the child. But you said it's a disgrace to have an illegitimate child as heir, stated Tsunade. Furthermore, the child will only be half Hyuga, wouldn't that mean making them heir would be more taboo? In most cases yes, but considering the possibilities of the combined genetics, they've made an alternative decision, answered Hiashi. Combined genetics? Asked Tsunade. The Uzumaki clan are well known for their stamina and high levels of chakra. Explained Hiashi. I'm aware of the abilities of the Uzumaki clan, I'm also descended from them, stated Tsunade. Then imagine what could be achieved, if you combine their abilities, with the strength and techniques of the Hyuga clan, stated Hiashi. It was all becoming clear to Tsunade. So, what you're saying is. That's right, the Hyuga clan wants Hanabi's child because of the possibilities of an Uzumaki, Hyuga hybrid, Hiashi confirmed. Is that all they see the child as? A tool for them to use to increase their strength? Asked Tsunade. That's right. And they want to make sure the child is raised in our ways and traditions, answered Hiashi. That's disgusting, spat Tsunade. I know, which is why I only told Hanabi enough to push her away. I don't even want to know how she'd react to this. I think she could live with being banished to the branch house, but to have her child taken away from her and be raised by others would destroy her, sighed Hiashi. Why haven't they tried something like this with Hinata's son? Boruto is also an Uzumaki, Hyuga hybrid, stated Tsunade. As Hinata has relinquished her rights as a Hyuga and become an Uzumaki, this extends to her son. Explained Hiashi. Boruto is an Uzumaki, meaning the clan has no say in how he is raised. It also doesn't help that by inheriting his father's eyes, the chances of him having the Byakugan are low. Hanabi on the other hand is still a Hyuga, which could extend to her child. So as long as there's a possibility that the child could be a Hyuga, the elders feel they have the right to take it. Asked Tsunade. Yes, confirmed Hiashi. What about the fact that Hanabi's child could also inherit Naruto's eyes? Asked Tsunade. They've decided to worry about that later. And even if Hanabi's child is born with Naruto's eyes, that doesn't mean they won't necessarily inherit the Byakugan, answered Hiashi. This is the desire of the clan, and I fear there's nothing I can do to change their minds. But you don't want this? Asked Tsunade. No, I don't. Which is why I'm taking no part in the attempts to bring Hanabi back, answered Hiashi. How do the elders feel about this? Asked Tsunade. They're not happy, but they know there's nothing they can do, answered Hiashi. Why did you make this decision? At one point you would have forced your children home without hesitation, argued Tsunade. I had my reasons, countered Hiashi, getting angry. Which are? Asked Tsunade. I was a bad father, growled Hiashi before calming down. I was a bad father. No argument here, laughed Tsunade. That still doesn't explain why you decided to support them now. When you're born into the Hyuga clan, you're born without a choice in your path, stated Hiashi. You're either born in the main house, or the branch family, and your fate is decided from there. Or so I thought. Neji proved this wrong, by being the true prodigy of the Hyuga clan. Hinata proved this as well, by making the choice to leave and be Naruto's wife. And now Hanabi has made the same choice. It wasn't one I was happy with, but I decided it was one I would support. So, when the elders told me I had no choice and that I had to bring Hanabi home, I told them we always have a choice. They could do as they please, but my choice was to support my children and not cause them any more pain. Do you really think that's what you're doing? Asked Tsunade. You lied to your children and you're sitting here wallowing during a time when they need you. As clan leader I might not be one of the people trying to force Hanabi home, but I can't show open support for them, stated Hiashi. Why not? Showing them support will help others realize this might not be what the Hyuga clan wants. You said we always have a choice. What do you choose? Asked Tsunade firmly. Back in the Hokage office, Hiashi had just finished telling his story to everyone. So, you're saying what they really want is Hanabi's child? Asked Naruto angrily. Yes, they feel that by having a child that is both an Uzumaki and a Hyuga and raising them in our ways, we'll be able to increase the inner strength of the clan, confirmed Hiashi. As much as I can respect the desire to get stronger, that is not going to happen, snapped Naruto. That is my child she's carrying and I'm not going to let anyone hurt her or our child. Naruto temper, advised Kakashi, though he understood Naruto's anger. It's alright, he has every right to be angry, interjected Kakashi. I am as well, which is why I'm here. I'd like to help protect Hanabi until she can change her name. Not a chance. Why should I trust you? Demanded Naruto. I'm her father and I want to protect her, answered Hiashi calmly. Really? Because you're not doing a very good job, spat Naruto. Naruto, interjected Tsunade, causing everyone to go quiet. I understand your anger, but you need to think about this more logically. Yes, he doesn't have the best track record as a father, no one will argue that. Yes, he should have been more supportive when this. And yes, he hasn't given you much reason to trust him. But if he really didn't care, do you think he would be here today? I guess not, admitted Naruto. The clan elders weren't happy with my decision to come here today, added Hiashi. But I repeated what I said before, I'm not going to cause my daughters any more pain and I'm going to support them. I'm not the one you need to convince, stated Naruto. Hiashi looked confused. I'll let you help, but only if both Hinata and Hanabi say it's okay. We agreed we were all equals in this relationship, and I feel this is a decision we need to make together. I don't trust you, but if Hinata and Hanabi do, that's all I need, declared Naruto. He turned to Kakashi. Sensei, I'm going to give training a miss today so Lord Hiashi and I can go home and sort everything out. That's okay, I was just about to suggest the same thing. Besides, I think this could be beneficial, stated Naruto. Lady Tsunade has already confirmed that only a few Hyuga are actively trying to attack my home. If their own leader is stepping in to defend, something tells me that'll make them even less hesitant to attack. I agree, added Hiashi. Alright, we can put off Hokage training until you feel ready to return, said Kakashi. Hold on, interjected Tsunade. Lord Hiashi, I believe there's something else you should tell Naruto. Of course, nodded Hiashi. It was the Hyuga clan who started the rumor that you used the power of the fox to corrupt my daughters and turn them into your servants. What? Asked a surprised Naruto. I assure you this wasn't something I approved of, stated Hiashi. They know getting Hanabi back won't be easy, not just because you're protecting her, but also because you'd have the support of the whole village. After everything you had done in the last war, the clan believed the village would do everything they could to help, even though you'd done something as old-fashioned as taking a second wife. They felt the only way they had a chance of retrieving Hanabi was to ensure your support from the village was minimal. And so, they spread the rumor that Hyuga clan had lost their heirs due to the power of the fox. Now many others fear you'll use this power on more women. You know, every day I'm happier that Hinata is no longer a member of the Hyuga clan, stated Naruto. I'm happy Hanabi will soon be free as well. As am I, sighed Hiashi. Even I didn't think the elders would go to such extremes. That still doesn't explain why the village believed this crap so easily, said Naruto. Unfortunately, Naruto, fear is an easy motivator, and despite everything you and the Nine Tails did during the war, people still hold a lot of fear over the tailed beasts, interjected Tsunade. Furthermore, the Hyuga clan is a well-known, respected and influential clan, so it doesn't surprise me they were able to spread this rumor so effectively. Isn't there anything you can do to convince people otherwise? Asked Naruto, turning to Hiashi. I can try, but I fear the damage might already be done, sighed Hiashi. Even if it worked it wouldn't solve everything, added Kakashi. From this rumor an additional rumor was created. Not everyone is convinced this is because of the fox, but it has led others to believe this is the result of you letting your accomplishments go to your head. So, even if you can convince people this isn't because of the fox, many will still believe you're doing this because you think it's your right as the strongest shinobi in the world. And they even think you'll take on additional wives because of this. Let me guess, the only way to fix that is to earn back their trust through more heroic actions and hard work. Asked Naruto. I'm afraid so, confirmed Kakashi. People are impossible to please, aren't they? Asked Naruto. Pretty much, but you did it once and you can do it again, stated Kakashi. Here's hoping, but I don't mind putting off being Hokage for a few more years, it means more time with my family, stated Naruto. It's always good to see a silver lining, chucked Tsunade. Naruto headed for the door. Let's go, Lord Hiashi, the sooner you clear things up with Hinata and Hanabi the better. Hiashi nodded and followed Naruto throughout the door. You think they'll be okay? Asked Tsunade. It won't take us much longer to solve the issues with the Hyuga clan. I've already given Hanabi the papers she needs to change her name. After they're submitted it'll be over in a few weeks, stated Kakashi. As for the rest of the village, only time will tell. They'll be fine. People avoided Naruto when he was young because they feared the power of the fox. Now that he has full control over it, only a fool would attack him or the women he loves, stated Tsunade. I hope you're right, sighed Kakashi. Naruto and Hiashi headed back to the Uzumaki home. While stares still came from the other villages, they weren't as hate-filled as usual. Instead, they were curious, as they were amazed Naruto was traveling with the head of the Hyuga clan, especially with everything that was going on. Once they reached Naruto's home, they were met by those who were acting as security. They were just as surprised to see Hiashi as the other villagers were. What is he doing here? Demanded Kiba. Lord Hiashi told me more about what the Hyuga clan are planning, answered Naruto. Because of this we have a lot to discuss with Hinata and Hanabi. How can you trust anything he says? If I were you, I wouldn't let him within 10 feet of Hinata and Hanabi, stated Kiba. Personally, I don't trust him, but I've decided allowing him to help shouldn't be up to me, said Naruto. Are you leaving that decision to Hinata and Hanabi? Asked Shino. Yes, answered Naruto. I think that's fair. He is their father, stated Shino. The fact that he's the father is the very reason they shouldn't let him in. Especially the way he treated them while they were growing up, stated Kiba. Kiba, that is not for us to decide, argued Shino. Shikamaru, could you back me up here? Asked Kiba to Shikamaru. I don't think it's the wisest decision, but it could also make this situation less of a drag, so I say go for it, sighed Shikamaru. Temari, anything you'd like to add? Asked Naruto as Temari had said nothing. Again, none of my business what you do in your personal life, if you're willing to let him in that's your choice, answered Temari. Okay, great, said Naruto. Anyway guys, while I appreciate you all giving up time to help us, would you mind leaving for a bit so we can talk to Hinata and Hanabi in private? But what about the Hyuga clan? Asked Shino. I think we'll be fine with Lord Hiashi and I around, answered Naruto. I agree, added Shikamaru. Frankly, I'm amazed they haven't tried anything with only us here. Just let me go get Shikadai and we'll be gone, interjected Temari. Do you want us to take Boruto as well? No, I think it would be safer if he stayed with us, answered Naruto. Temari nodded and headed for the door to get Shikadai. Well, I'm not leaving, stated Kiba. I don't care if they trust him or not, there's no way I'm leaving Hinata with this guy. They've asked us to leave, so we're leaving, threatened Temari, pulling her giant fan off her back. I wouldn't push her, warned Shikamaru. She's attacked people for less. Alright, I'll leave, conceded Kiba. But I'm staying close by. If it makes you feel better, sighed Naruto. After Temari fetched Shikadai, they left the Uzumaki residence, agreeing to come back in a few hours. Hiashi followed Naruto into the Uzumaki home. They walked into the living room to see Hinata helping Hanabi fill out the paperwork to change her name. Father? Inquired Hinata, which also caused Hanabi to look up. I know it's a little shocking to see him, but to put it simply, we have a lot to discuss, answered Naruto. Hiashi told his daughters everything. How he had lied to them about the intended fate of Hanabi's child, what would happen to Hanabi upon returning to the Hyuga compound, and the fate that would befall her child after they were born. Both Hinata and Hanabi became more disgusted, the longer Hiashi spoke. So, you're saying they want to brand me regardless of if I came home by choice? Asked Hanabi. Yes, said Hiashi, full of shame. And they wanted to use Hanabi's child for the next heir, as they feel they'll help make the Hyuga clan stronger. Asked Hinata. Yes, they believe that by combining the strength of the Hyuga, with the stamina and high chakra of an Uzumaki, they'll have a warrior of unbelievable strength, Hiashi confirmed. That is also why they are trying to get Hanabi back before she changes her name. Because they want to make sure the child is raised in the ways of the Hyuga. But, I'll never be allowed to see my child. This was the fact that hurt Hanabi the most. Too ashamed to answer, Hiashi simply nodded. My child is not a tool for the Hyuga clan to use for their own sick desires, cried Hanabi, breaking down. Naruto went over to comfort her. Father, why didn't you tell us this? Asked Hinata, also comforting Hanabi. I wanted to, but I thought if I told Hanabi the truth, it would destroy her. Hinata, I've caused you so much pain throughout your life, and for that I'm truly sorry. I didn't want to make the same mistake with Hanabi, so I told H.